Hey, what's going on, guys? Thanks for tuning in. So I've had the Talaria Sting for a couple weeks now, and I want to tell you guys about it. Before we get into it, please subscribe to the channel if you like content like this. Hit that thumbs up button and also ring that notification bell for future notifications of my videos. All right, so I purchased this bike from ebikezilla.com, and the bike was $4,200 and shipping was about 450 bucks. So that could change depending on where you are. So I paid about $46.50 total shipped. Let me tell you, the guys over at ebikezilla are awesome. Excellent customer support. All the questions I've had about this bike, they were able to answer them, and they got back to me really quick. So that's a huge plus. All right, so the question probably everybody wants answered is, how fast does this thing go? So far, I've gotten it up to 47 miles per hour. I'm 260 pounds, so that is quite impressive. The torque is absolutely amazing on this bike. It features 6,000 kilowatts of power. And let me tell you, you can feel every single bit of it. So early models were having problems with the throttle being pretty jumpy, and ebikezilla was actually the first to flash the firmware on this bike to correct that issue. And let me tell you, the throttle is a lot smoother now, and there's a lot of lower end torque with this bike as opposed to something like the Sur-Ron where you get a lot on the higher end. This one has a lot of torque on the low end, so that's what I love about this thing. You have this nice long seat, which is very comfortable. So you can scoot back as far as you want and up as far as you want. I really like what they did with the seat. It's very comfortable. And the seat height is just over 34 inches. So it's a nice tall ride, especially for bigger riders like myself. I'm 6'2", 260 pounds, and this bike fits me perfectly. We'll go to the front of the bike first. Both of these rims, the front and the back, are 19-inch. The tire in the front is a 70 by 100. Very nice tire. I think it's the same as the Sur-Ron. I also got the D&M Volcano front fork, which I think is the best out of all three options. The RST, the Fast Ace, and the D&M. If you have a choice to get the D&M, I would go with that. Now, as far as the brakes go, I think they're just in-house brakes. As you can see, it says Talaria right here. Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments, but I do think they're in-house brakes from Talaria. You also have this front fender here, which I will be replacing out. It just looks a little weird, to be honest, a little too jagged for me. There's all these lines and stuff that go out then back in again. So I'm gonna replace it with the one that comes with the Sur-Ron. We got the same light as the Sur-Ron. It's not too bad, but I'm gonna get the blinder headlight from Grit Shift. So I'm gonna be replacing that, but nothing special about the light. You got the nice Talaria branding. The awesome thing about this bike is it comes with a gearbox instead of a belt drive, which in my opinion is a little torquier, but it's sealed. So you don't have to worry about snapping a belt while you're out riding, and the mud and the dirt is not gonna get in there. The big difference between a belt drive and the gearbox is you do have to do oil changes on the gearbox, and you have to do those oil changes about every 600 miles or so. So just keep that in mind. There is some extra maintenance with your gearbox, but honestly, I think it's worth it. You also got your standard pegs here, which I will get the pedal kit from Kaniwaba. They just released them. All right, we'll move over to the back of the bike. You have your suspension back here, and this is actually a Fast Ace suspension. It's a little different than the triangle on the Sur-Ron back here. I'm just wondering how that's gonna hold up. I definitely hear people having issues with this being loose. Mine is not. We'll see what happens. You also have your rear fender. Nothing special here. You've got your rear brakes back here. Pretty cool. I think on the Sur-Ron, they're green. These are red. I'm not really sure what the difference is, but I think they're about the same. So the nice thing about the Talaria is it's a lot wider in the back than the Sur-Ron. You've also got an 80 by 100 rear tire, which is nice for traction. So a nice big tire in the back. I'm not really sure how large you can go with the tire in the back, but the swing arm is definitely wider. So that will allow you to go much bigger with the rear tire. So a lot more options with this wider swing arm. If you guys do know how wide you can go with the tire in the back of the Talaria Sting, let me know in the comments below. I'd like to know. For your secondary transmission, you've got your chain here. I know I mentioned the Sur-Ron a lot in this video, but it's kind of hard not to because this is basically The Sur-Ron 2.0, if you want to put it that way. There's a lot of improvements over the Sur-Ron with this bike that I think a lot of people will like. So that's why I keep referring to the Sur-Ron. There's your motor. And I believe they have other motors coming out for the Talaria Sting, like the KO motors. I'd really like to get my hands on one, but they have the motor and controller as one package. I'd really like to try that out and get that on this bike. As far as the battery cover goes, you have this nice large battery cover. Do is we'll open this up. You've also got this really nice battery, super nice handle with it. A couple improvements from the Sur-Ron. The connection is a lot better. It's just a one connection plug here instead of your two connection on the Sur-Ron. Makes it a lot easier to plug it in and unplug it. This is a 38 amp hour battery as opposed to the 32 amp hour that comes on the Sur-Ron. This bike does weigh a little bit more than the Sur-Ron at 127 pounds. I think that's about 20 pounds more than the Sur-Ron. So it does make up for the extra weight with the extra amp hours. But you still get a little more range out of this with the 38 amp hour as far as range goes. So a very nice job with the battery here. You can also test your power by hitting this little Talaria symbol, and it's going to tell you how charged it is. You've also got your fuse back here, just like the Sur-Ron. The only thing that bugs me about the Talaria Sting is you do have a lot of movement within the battery. So when you do go over some bumps or whatever, this battery does move quite a bit. But I am planning on getting a bigger battery, probably from Chai Battery Systems. So hopefully it fits a little bit better in here, being a bigger battery, and it won't move as much. So if you guys have any suggestions on how to keep this battery from moving for the time being, please leave them in the comments below. All right, we'll take a look at the handlebars. So obviously you get your throttle on the right hand side. Like I said, eBikeZilla flashes all the firmware before they send the bikes out. So the throttle will be very smooth when you get it. And I like the more resistance opposed to the Sur-Ron throttle. It just feels more natural. You also have a start button here. So when you turn on the bike, before you can go, you have to hit that start button. It's a safety feature on the bike. I kind of like it. A lot of people don't like it, but you have your brake lever here and your other brake lever here, and then you also have your other grip. It's nice because you do get bar ends on these handlebars, so you can put some nice mirrors on there. On the left hand side, you've also got your horn and your display here, and I'll show you the display real quick. So we'll turn the bike on. If you can make that out, the Talaria symbol comes up, and then it says wait. So what you do to start the bike, if you want to ride, is you would hit that start button here. And as you can see, it does say ready up there, if you can actually make that out on the camera. All right, you do have the ability to adjust your level of brake regen by the up and down arrows here, which is really nice. You have 4 levels of brake regen. And you also have your mode button here, which will switch from sport to eco. Like I said, the fastest this bike will go is in sport mode, 47 miles per hour. And eco mode will top you out around 30 miles per hour, so keep that in mind. You can also change your gear ratioing in the menu, so that's a really, really nice feature to have. So a lot of control on the menu on this bike, which is very, very convenient. So huge plus to this bike. The battery is a 60 volt battery. If they haven't already, they'll be making 72 volt batteries for this bike as well. So I'm just really excited to see the potential of this bike. So there's a lot of pluses to this bike. Like I said, you get the longer seat so you can move back and forward as you want. There's also a lot of meat to the frame. It's a lot wider. You can get a lot more to hold on to it. It just feels like more of a larger bike, which I love. It's on the heavier side, like I said, at 127 pounds, but not too bad. I think the battery weighs about 20 pounds. So as long as you can pick it up, put it in your truck, things like that, I'm sure it won't be an issue. I've seen a lot of people do a lot heavier bikes like the Onyx and stuff in their cars. 38 amp hour battery is awesome for extended range. That more than makes up for the added weight of the bike. Tops out at 47 miles per hour, so you can certainly keep up with traffic. And I see accessories and stuff already making their way on the market for this bike, so I don't see that being any issue as far as like aftermarket parts go. This bike is also super quiet. It's significantly more quiet than the Sur-Ron with that belt drive, and this having the gearbox, a lot more quiet, which is really nice. A lot of people like that noise though, so it really depends on how you look at it. If you guys have any questions about this bike, like I said, I've been riding this for a couple weeks now. I have a lot of thoughts on it, and I'd like to share it with you guys. So I really appreciate you guys tuning in. Like I said, please subscribe if you like the channel, if you like the content. It helps me out a lot. All right, until next time, thanks for tuning in. Peace out.